So insurance, those guys are squirrels, and you've got to manage that. What other expenses should we be projecting?
Cleaning and maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Cleaning and maintenance.
It's pretty easy for us or FIG because when we do our new construction build, it's very low. It's minimal, right? There's a 1-year builder warranty, and then after that, there's not a ton of cleaning or maintenance. So what do we put in there, like 1%?
Yeah, something like, well, because the HOA is taking all the exterior maintenance.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just the interior. So there's some formula, and maybe you guys know that as the property gets older, that percentage is going to go up.
Yeah.
So how do you factor that in, or how do you calculate that?
Well, in our pro forma software, there's a way you can do an assumption for the annual expense increase rate.
There you go. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
And
I think we run ours at 2.5% or something like that.
We run it at 3%, and we run
okay.
our income inflation rate at 2.5% to help have a gap there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because the property is just going to get older over time, and it's going to pro rata per dollar is going to cost you more, right? So another big one is vacancy, right? That's an expense that we have to deal with. What are your thoughts on vacancy? How do you determine that?
Talk with property management or different managers, or call in different locations, different apartment buildings to see how full they are. If they're being leased up, we can look online and get data and read. Google is a great source and see what the vacancy rate is for that area.
CoStar will tell you per
CoStar,
apartment complex what their vacancy rate is. Sites like Rentler or Rentometer, pulling up Zillow. If you see a whole bunch of rentals, that should probably make you feel nervous about your vacancy rate. On the other hand, I see some news report, I think I put it in our Slack channel, local news in Phoenix interviewing tenants that are crying, saying every time I apply, it's already gone. That's bad for them. But if you're the owner, if you're trying to figure out rent projections, that would tell you could probably be a little more aggressive, would it not?
Definitely, yeah.
I think we're seeing that in all the states we're in right now, too. I
Yeah.
think not much is sitting around for very long. I mean,
Something, yeah. If it's sitting around, and I know a few that are, but those are exceptions and different scenario.
So you can really gather a lot of information just by calling around on the comps like we talked about. We're talking about vacancy, right? You can call and see, okay, what's vacant? You look at the similar floor plan, whether it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever it is. And if that complex is fully leased up and they have a waiting list, what does that tell you? So you go off of what the vacancy is in that city or that area, and then if you have comps that are just completely full, that's a pretty good sign. We'll still be conservative with it, but that's a really good sign.
And while you're asking them about vacancy, just go ahead and ask them about what their rents are.
Exactly, which can lead us into something else.
Right, and that's so you're pulling up Google, you're looking up these vacancy rates, trying to get an idea for how much competition is there. Right, you can listen to city council meetings about new proposed projects, because what if your vacancy rate is 2%, but there's 1,000 doors slated for a local submarket that maybe has the ability to absorb 600.
That's a good point. I don't think a lot of investors take it to that next step. That's huge.
Yeah, those city council meetings are huge. Talk to
Yeah.
your developer that you're working with. What else have you heard about? What else is going in here? And it's just not that something is going in, but what kind of product is going in? Because if it's different than yours, that might be okay. The point is you don't want to slam the market with too much of one thing at one time, which we have been guilty of a number of times.
Yeah.
Well, we did that in American Fork. Remember, we had Easton Park coming on, and I don't know if we were aware or weren't aware of what else was going on around, but we had some delays in that project that I think really set us back. And then it ended up, all of a sudden, we have all these neighbors and rents.
They're for rent too.
Yep, and the rents had to go down a little bit below what pro forma was. So it's taken a while. They're back up to getting, market rents right now, and that project's great, but it
took some time to, I tell people, absorbing. It's like if you eat a 50-ounce steak, right, could be a good steak, but it's going to take some time, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what Chase said, if you want to go really deep, I think the most valuable confirmation you have of any of this high-level research is you go into that leasing office. And I've been guilty of going in and saying I'm Billy Bob and I'm moving some employees into the area, because what am I going to say? Like, hey, I'm going to build an apartment complex next to you.
I'm your competition.
Yes, I have been that direct before.
And sometimes
oddly enough, they don't care.
Yeah, sometimes they don't care.
In fact, I think we even hired somebody once because of a conversation like that in Idaho.
Yeah.
But those conversations are really, really helpful, where they say, oh yeah, we don't have any of our 3 bedrooms available until next November. I've got 6 2 bedrooms right now, and there's a special. What does that tell you about the market?